Hello! Today I'm going to be reading some r/malicious compliance for you. Read by Red. That's me! Are you ready? Yeah? Okay, let's get going! My house in the middle of the street. When I pay my mortgage, I round up and divide in half. I pay half every other week, so my mortgage got picked up by another company when my mortgage company went out of business. To do what I was doing with the new company was $300 to enroll and an extra $40 each payment. Oh, hell no. I spoke to my credit union and they had an auto pay that would pay my bills from my direct deposit free. So nearly a year goes by and I get one of those scary ass letters. You are in default on your mortgage. Unless we get X payment within 10 days of this letter, we will foreclose. I was astounded since I'd never missed a payment and was actually paid a couple of months ahead. I spoke with their accounting department. It seems they couldn't accept half payments, only full payments, even though they'd done so for a year. So the money had to sit unapplied until a full payment was accrued. That made sense, except again, they got more than enough and it was always there in full before the due date, so on the due date they should have just taken it and applied it to the mortgage. So further digging, the rep says to me, "Oh, by the way, we have $8,200 of unapplied funds in this account. What would you want to do with it?" Pay my mortgage with it? "Oh, we can't do that." So I had to get a check cut for $8,200, pay $45 for them to overnight it to me, take it to my credit union, cash it, pay $25 for a cashier's check, and pay another $45 to send the cashier's check back to them. I called relentlessly to see when it had arrived, and all kinds of postal tracking, signature confirmation, etc. Remember, I only had 10 days to get this stuff straight. So they got it, verified that it's applied to my mortgage, and that there will be no foreclosure. The rep tells me, "Well, your next payment is due in 2 weeks, and there will be penalties and late fees applied, so the amount is XYZ, and we are raising your interest rate to nearly twice what it was before." No. All this is your company's fault. She says, "You knew these were the terms and conditions when you took out your mortgage with us." No, I didn't take it out with you. I took it out with another company and I was assigned to your company. "Well, don't be late with the next payment." Oh no. I want to speak with a manager. So I finally get to speak with a manager and he wasn't much better. His only response was, "Well, you can always go with another company, but good luck with that these days. So many foreclosures and your credit is not very good from missing so many payments." So I decided to take his advice. I contacted my credit union, explained everything, showed them their own payment transfers and the mortgage statements showing the other company had received the money bi-weekly like clockwork, and the credit union took over my mortgage. I got a reduced interest rate and killed all the fees and penalties and got the overpayment back. I applied it to the new mortgage payments, etc. So when a company acts like they have you over a barrel and tells you to try and go with someone else, do it. Yeah, absolutely do it. Shop around if you can. Definitely, especially when it comes to mortgaging. Well, like 0.1% can make a difference, you know? So, geez. I hate that. That's yeah. And you know what? Go with someone who has good customer service. Okay, here is the next story. Tell my mom to speak English? Okay. It was the late 1980s in Los Angeles, California. By this time, my mom, a Japanese immigrant, had been living in the United States for 10 years. Although she could speak English well, she wasn't fluent and preferred to speak Japanese with others from the local Japanese American community. One day, she and a friend were waiting to be seated at a restaurant on Beverly Boulevard. As they chatted away in Japanese, a large shadow cast down upon them. Looking up, they found Karen's 1989 counterpart leering down at them. My mother couldn't remember how the woman looked, except for the look of pure contempt, trying to work its way across facial muscles, frozen by a bad facelift. You two! This is America! Speak English! Startled, my mum and her friend made eye contact, unsure of what to do. Encounters like this were sadly ones they'd run into many times since they came to live in the USA. They were not ones for confrontation. Before, they couldn't do anything when their bullies marched off unpunished. But then, as they made eye contact, a brilliant thing happened. Mum likened it to the moment their thought processes coming in sync together. They had shared ideas that didn't need any further elaboration or explanation. Masami, my dear, I do think the waiter ought to have shown up to escort us to our table by now. Mum chimed in the poshest British accent she could muster. It's frightfully rude to keep us waiting like this. Yes, darling, it is frightfully rude indeed. As they continued to twitter away in their fake English accents, Karen began to slowly back away. Her botched face reddened and twisted itself into a visage as hideous as the Furies, realizing that she had just been outsmarted by two young women obsessed with British culture and celebrity. All she could do was storm off down Beverly Boulevard, a defeated bully. You know, you're in whatever country, speak whatever language. It's so stupid. Like, I love diversity of culture. I love it because think about how boring food would be. Everything, art, and everything would be so dull if we didn't have this beautiful meshing of cultures and languages. And let's be honest, English is a pretty meshed up language itself. So, yeah, I just really don't get this. Like, why? Are you trying to eavesdrop on someone else's conversation? Didn't your parents teach you that was rude? And there are those people who are so insecure, they think everybody talking in another language must be talking about them. Like, who cares if they are? Okay, here's the next story. A driver hits my truck, refuses to get insurance involved, wasting my time and being difficult. Enjoy the butthole tax. This happened just a week ago. I'm an over-the-road truck driver and I was on off-duty mode since the day before, so I was stationary the whole time. While I was in my bed trying to sleep, I suddenly heard a loud crunch, following a pretty rough rocking of my truck. When I got out and checked, I saw a truck trying to park on the left spot and struck me on his blind spot, right side of his trailer. The damage was my driver's side mirror was folded and there are cracks to my left quarter fender. The driver got out, checked the damage for both my truck and his trailer. I told him that I would need his registration, driver's license, and insurance, the whole 9 yards. At first he was a little hesitant to give the information, but ended up following the rules. I did the same for him. Then he proceeded to tell me that he would prefer to pay the damage in cash or check. The reason was, if insurance was involved, his company would charge him $2,500 automatically, so it's a huge loss for him. Even though I don't agree with that and still think insurance is better, I comply and talk to my manager about the whole situation. At first, he wanted to claim through insurance too, but after seeing the damage, it was very minor. He settled and told me to charge the driver $1,200 if he wants to pay cash or check. I told the driver what my manager thinks the cost of the repair is. He was more hesitant than when I asked for his information, so I told him it's either $1,200 or insurance. Then he got this bright idea to try and get evaluations from the professional in the nearby shop for the cost of parts and labor. He even tried to fix my side mirror, which to my surprise was fixed. Okay, so no need to replace the side mirror, but the fender is still cracked, so that needed to be fixed. His reason to get professional evaluation is so he can get a receipt for tax purposes, so it's understandable. I told him I will need to leave in 4 hours, which is true, so I won't have all day to sit around in the mechanic shop. Not to mention I didn't get much sleep since I needed to take care of the damage. He was very assuring that it would be quick. It won't. Shortest time I've ever been in a shop is 8 hours, so I comply. We drive to the nearest shop, which is 30 minutes away. Inside the truck, he kept saying that $1,200 is too much to fix a fender. I didn't say anything in retaliation because I actually do not know how much it costs to fix a fender. I just trusted my manager. When we arrived, the tech said he can't fix the truck within 3 hours. It was fairly busy, so we asked if we can just get an evaluation for the cost of parts and labor, which the tech said they can do. After an hour, the tech came out and gave us a piece of paper with the evaluation. The total came out to be $1,440 for parts and labour, not including the paint job, which is around $400. The guy who hit me was shocked, thinking he got ripped off by the evaluation. He complained a whole bunch to the tech, but there's nothing the tech can do about it. He asked for the evaluation. He got an evaluation. Then he went back to me and asked if he can still go back to the $1,200 cost. I told him, but I thought you wanted to get a receipt for evaluation done by a professional. To say he was stunned was an understatement. He kept making up excuses about the cost, but again I repeated, either this or insurance. He finally complied and wrote me a check for $1,440. After we parted ways, I mentioned to him, remember to keep your words for the paint job. If not, my manager will claim the damage as a hit and run. He looked at me with the dirtiest look he could muster, but I couldn't do anything about it. Oh well, at least he got his receipt. I hope you enjoyed those r/malicious compliance stories read by me. Read. If you did, please give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't done that already. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you tomorrow.